you're fine. Your test is normal. But I couldn't help wondering, are they truly normal? Could it be the other current equipment fails to detect their problem? Or that the diagnostic criteria we use are too crude to identify real patients? These patients stayed with me and shaped my later research. Do not blindly trust the currently using dogmas and criteria. Always question them. To never give up and good idea. If you truly believe in your work, push it through to the end. A true great paper may not be recognized at first, but over time, people will come to realize its real value. Even if it gets rejected repeatedly, don't give up. Make sure to publish it and share your ideas with the world. This slide shows the EOE has developed in Western countries. In 1993, an important paper based on only a few cases were published in Digestive Science (DBS). When almost no one knew what EOE was, during the presentation, the session chair even laughed and said it was about a disease that did not exist. But today, that paper is one of the most cited in the field, showing how important it is to believe in your work and keep going. I heard this story directly from the Dr. Rifas. He published a paper suggesting that pH test interfered with the patient's daily lives, affecting result accuracy. At that time, he was heavily criticized for discouraging patients from testing. But after the wireless pH test was introduced, his paper became one of the most cited in this field. The lesson is clear. You must publish your research. What you see here is the recent rejection rate of JNN. Nearly 80% of submitted manuscripts are being rejected. The title of paper is crucial. Honestly, many readers are drawn to the study based solely on its title. Last year, my paper titled Asian Aspect of IBS received the award for being the most cited article in this research. I suspect that the many people cite it simply because of the title. A good title not only captures the attention of the editors, but also draws the interest of readers, which may ultimately reduce the likelihood of rejection. Many manuscripts failed to escape the editor's blade. Most editors hesitate before deciding whether the paper is even worth sending out for review. What truly matters is title, abstract, and figures. While authors may spend months preparing the submission, the initial editorial decision can be made in just a few minutes. If the figures appear poorly prepared, the editor may assume the work itself lacks sincerity. Editors tend to favor manuscripts that are likely to be cited, since the impact factor ultimately depends on how frequently a journal's articles are cited. Most editors prefer the papers with the strong citation potential. For example, when the new diverse criteria such as the Hướng 2.0 or the classification are introduced or updated, validation studies related to these criteria are highly likely to receive continuous citations, making them particularly attractive to editors and reviewers. The first tip is to plan early to get it out of the door. Remember, a manuscript in preparation will stay in the preparation itself unless you, an author, take action. Your goal is to move it from your desk to the editor's desk. Also, write regularly. Studies show that writing daily, even for just 15 minutes, is far more effective than waiting for the long block of time to write. At our Assam Medical Center, there is the cardiology professor who has published his paper to the NEJM 4 times. I heard that even while performing coronary interventions every day, he writes his paper in the brief moments between the patients when one patient leaves and the next arrives. Of course, I'm not nearly as diligent as he is. The title should serve as the shortest possible abstract, concise, accurate, and crafted with a thoughtful effort. In the introduction, begin with the broader problem, narrow it to the specific knowledge gap. and conclude with your research question or objective. In the discussion, stay focused and concise. Summarize your key findings, acknowledge limitations, relate your research to previous work, and highlight implication for clinical practice and future research. By following these principles, your manuscript will be clearer, more complete, and more appealing to reviewers and editors. Selecting the right journal is also important. The best journal isn't always the one with the highest impact factor. It's the one where your work will reach the right audience. Here are the few points to consider. Leadership: choose the journal read by the people who will understand, apply, and cite your work. Other factors: check the time to publication, fees and limits on word count and figures. As a deputy of JNM, I often see submissions of the topics about Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, or even fatty liver diseases. These papers are usually rejected immediately after submission, even though the authors have spent considerable time formatting them according to the journal's guidelines. It is essential to submit your paper to the journal whose scope matches your research topic. Another important tip is to follow the journal's instruction carefully. Precisely failing to follow the instructions for authors creates the poor first impression and can even lead to automatic rejection. Before submission, carefully check all requirements: abstract structure, manuscript length, reference format, and figure and table style. Sometimes I come across cover letters that still include the name of the editors from the previously rejected submission, or manuscripts that completely ignore the JNF submission format. In a few cases, I even see manuscripts that mix English with the author's native language. This is a tip when you are rejected. Get it back out of the door quickly. Rejection is the normal and expected part of the publication process. Most papers are rejected at least once before they are accepted. Don't give up after the first rejection. From the start, identify 2 or 3 target journals in order of priority. When the rejection comes, revise promptly, reformat for the next journal, and resubmit as soon as possible. Momentum is key. The faster you resubmit, the sooner your work will find its place in print. This is another tip when you are rejected. Take seriously all reviewers and editors' suggestions. Even if your manuscript is rejected, remember that reviewer and editors' comments are free expert advice. Don't ignore their feedback. It can greatly improve your paper for the next submission. In fact, the same reviewer might be asked to review your work again. They won't appreciate it if you ignored their earlier suggestions. So prioritize the key points, revise carefully, and use every review as an opportunity to make your manuscript stronger. This is a tip when you are invited to revise. Respond carefully to every suggestion. Even if you disagree, the invitation to revise and resubmit is actually very good news. It's the most common form of acceptance. Remember, the reviewer is always right. Even if you think they are wrong, their comment means that something in your manuscript wasn't clearer and needs clarification and justification. Respond to every single comment in a detailed response letter. Be humble and respectful in tone, and always acknowledge the reviewer's time and effort. A thoughtful, polite response often makes the difference between the rejection and acceptance. Here are the main topics I like to remember. Be proactive and persistent. Plan early, write regularly, and don't be discouraged by the rejection. Be meticulous, pay close attention to every detail. Follow all reporting guidelines and journal's instructions carefully. Be responsive, treat all reviewers' feedback as valuable, whether it comes from the rejection or the revision request. And finally, the main theme: getting your manuscript out the door, and if it comes back, get it back out of the door quickly. This is how successful authors keep moving forward the publication journey. Thank you for your attention.